The Mare by Angharad, Hampshire, published by Orthodox Press, and this is the fictional retelling of the real life story of Hermine Braunsteiner, who was an Austrian, and she was a young woman in her early 20s when World War II broke out, and she was looking for a job, and she was offered a job at what turned out to be Ravensbrück concentration camp. And it is a very interesting telling, because we have the story of Hermine as she sort of experiences things, and then that is interspersed with the story of Russell, who becomes her husband in America. They meet in Austria well after the war, and she moves to America, and she leaves a very lowbrow life out there, keeps her head down, and he has no idea of her past criminality, as it turns out to be. It opens up in Ravensbrück, and she is there, and at first she's quite shocked by what she's seeing, but you have that sense of disbelief that, and also that kind of seduction of being part of a team, but it all soon really, really falls apart, as we know, and she falls in love with someone, and he kind of betrays her just by looking at a prisoner who has walked past, and she decides she needs to have a transfer somewhere else, and it suggested she should go to MAJDANEK in Poland, which is also a woman's concentration camp. And there she is looking after, a lot of prisoners, and looking after, of course, is a moot term. And that is where inhumanity comes to the fore. And the title of this book is The Mare, and it refers to obviously a horse, because she was well known for kicking prisoners to death with her steel-capped toes. So there is a lot of storytelling in here that is very poignant, very heartrending, very distressing, but it really does tell the story in a very cohesive way that leaves you pondering at the end how on earth such treachery, such diabolical behaviour could become the norm. Russell, as they are based in Brooklyn and New York in the sort of 1960s, 70s, and a knock comes on the door, and it is a newspaper reporter who has been doing some research and discovers that she has quite some history, and eventually she's taken to trial in Düsseldorf, and is sentenced, and he is a very loyal man to her, because he cannot believe that his mild-mannered wife has been such a monster in her past. And it's that juxtaposition of what he appears to experience and her hideous history. So I think it's written in a style where Russell in his chapters talks to Hermine and sort of says, you did this, or this is you, or how did you feel about that, which at first I thought would be off-putting, but actually it works really well in this story. And so I really got immersed in this. It is not an easy read, of course, but if you have any interest or want to understand a little bit more about that period, then The Mare by Angharad, Hampshire is certainly one to pick up.